and this is kind of the second. So I've two more things I want to talk about. The second is how not to get caught up in the fact that since I cut the cord and don't watch TV, there aren't millions of Americans that are still glued to that television and glued to ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, right? Forget about just news. I'm just talking about watching their drama and their shows and their 11 o'clock time slot and their late night. And there's still millions of people. I think there's less and less, but there's still millions of people that are still watching television, listening to the radio, to your point, every morning on their drive. I listen to podcasts or I'm talking on the phone. And there are a lot of people that aren't. There are a lot of people that are listening to Z100 like I used to when I was a kid living in New York City, or Hot 97 or whatever, right? Because they're listening to that morning show that they have become ingrained with over the last 25, 30 years, and they haven't changed. And neither of the radio programs, the commercials have. So I think there's a certain element there that I'd love to hear about as far as viewership and how that is shifting. And then I think the last part is this omnipresence of being everywhere is not something that we can move away from. I wish, as the primary market that I'm focusing on with my business is the United States. I get offers to go in other countries all the time, and we're just going to scale and grow eventually. But for now, my focus is the United States. I guess it's easy for me to go with television or radio, and you find a nationally syndicated program that you can advertise on. But I think that's quite costly, although I have no idea because I haven't looked into it. But billboards, like, how do I put a billboard in every city? And how many billboards do I need in each city to be successful? And, I have those types of questions as well. So a lot to talk about and a lot to think about.
Those are all good points, man. I think you're right. I mean, like that study that Rob showed, I'm sure is one of like a shitload of studies that shows 1+1 = 3, and it makes sense, right? Because, like I said,
Absolutely.
I think the most important thing is if you think about like, and this is why and Rob, if you're down for it, I'd like to share this maybe the presentation with everybody, because if it's worth taking the time to really think about what is that advantage that TV or radio gives you, right? Radio, you got a captive audience, right? And by the way, like you said, if you know what the show is that you're going to advertise around and when, you can get targeted to the demographics, right, who are going to be on that commute, right, for that particular show. So it's not like it's not like what all of us digital people would have thought originally. It's like this massive blanket. I'm gonna waste marketing money on people that don't want my stuff. I think that we would be surprised at how targeted you can get to the audience that you actually want to receive. But my point is that if you really understand that, hey, like Rob was saying, with TV, I've got a lot of people sitting in their couch watching the TV. I control the screen. There's no other distractions. And by the way, all of us aren't stupid. You see more and more commercials throwing the QR code up, right? Mentioning the URL, right? They're driving people back to the web, because if you get there, then you got the lookalikes.
That omnipresence,
And
it balances it all out. I'm seeing QR codes
really
on billboards.